Yep, let's start the meeting. I thought we'd start with Ramagopal's poem, but I don't see him.
Oh.
So go ahead, Susie.
Okay.
Let me introduce her. Susie is the guru of publishing, and she's the best teacher you could get to publish your legacy. So with no further ado, here's Susie.
Yay, Susie.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here. Sunshine, would you please mute everybody? I want to make sure that there's no background noise.
And basically mute yourself. If I see someone unmuted, I will come over and do it.
Perfect. Thank you. And please, if you'd like, open up the chat box. And if you have questions, please type your questions into the chat box. I can't see them. So Sunshine, if you'll please watch the chat box for any questions that come up during the presentation, then that way we can make sure to answer them as we go along. And then of course, we'll have questions and answers at the very end. So I'll go ahead and get started and introduce myself. My name is Susie Schaefer. I'm founder of Finish the Book Publishing and have recently launched a second business called Movie Muse Productions, where we help authors with their screenplays and for movies, film, and television. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Sunshine, if you'll go ahead and give me access to share my screen, please. And it looks like a couple people don't have their mics muted. Harold, if you'll mute yourself, that would be great. We're getting a little background noise from you. Nope, Sunshine, that's not quite it. You need to enable me to share my screen, not share your screen.
For the first time, and of course, we do now know that he is in the Oval Office. President Biden is the first time.
Harold, if you can hear me, please mute your microphone, please.
Trump was waiting for him on the president's desk, and so are a lot of other things that he has on.
And Ramagopal,
yes,
please, if you could please mute your microphone, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Michael, yeah, you as well. If you'll mute your microphone, please.
One moment.
And Harold as well.
I got you.
Okay, at the bottom, Sunshine, there should be a little option that says other or additional. Peggy, are you set up as a co-host?
Harold, do you know how to mute yourself?
Yep, he got it muted, Peggy. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I was hearing his television in the background. So.
I could hear you.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen for all of you to see. Again, if you have questions, please type those into the chat box. If I can get it to work. It's not. Okay, there we go. All right. So this is everything you need to know about independent publishing. We're going to focus on some specifics today as well, just so that you guys know what to look for. The first things we're going to cover are, and I'm going to go ahead and make sure that you have this handout so that Peggy and Sunshine can get it out to everybody. So the first thing is understanding your options in publishing. So there's traditional publishing houses, which are ones like you might hear of Hay House or Penguin, Random House, and some of those others. They're a little bit different. They're sometimes difficult to get into. You don't need any money up front, but and it is nice to get picked up by a traditional publisher. However, usually what happens is, especially for first-time authors, is that less than 1% of authors that submit are actually picked up by a traditional publisher. And you usually don't get those big deals. Those kind of aren't in existence anymore. So The other thing to consider if you're going with a traditional publishing house is that you will lose control of your book. So they will take on the editing, you won't have a say in that, and they do keep a good portion of your royalties. And it does take a while to get published, usually 1 to 3 years. There we go. Small publishing houses are usually kind of your mom and pop kind of publishing houses. Again, they know the way around the system. I almost fall into a small publishing company, except that I work a little bit differently. Again, you don't have to put up any money out front. There's no advances, anything like that. And sometimes what happens is the smaller publishers do go out of business or maybe bought by the bigger publishing companies, which means that sometimes you can lose your rights and royalties to your book. And of course, then they do control the marketing and the sale of your book. And then next one is online or subsidiary publishing. You'll notice these like Author House, Morgan James, Lulu, Balboa, iUniverse. Now, these are ones that you get to keep your copyrights and you get to make all the creative decisions, and you do know the system. So they're very, very easy to use. Just keep in mind that the sales and distribution is controlled by them, and that if you do have to make changes in your book, they do charge you for any time that you make a change. They usually have in-house editors, which can be helpful to some people who have not been through the editing process before or don't know of editors to use. However, usually the editors are people that are just out of school and really don't have a lot of experience. So if that's okay with you, then these would be okay to use. They do upcharge you to buy your own books. So while you're not paying retail, you are paying somewhere between wholesale and retail price. So for example, if your book retails at $15, you might be paying $9 to get your book, whereas independently or self-publishing, you're paying around $4 to get your book, okay? And if you do sign into an agreement or contract with one of these types of publishers, the contracts are binding. So they're very difficult to get out of if you're not happy with the service. Okay, and then lastly is, there we go, is true independent publishing. This is what I recommend simply because it gives you the most control as an author to manage your book, make changes if you want to. You also have complete creative control as far as your editing goes. You also get the most money back for your copyrights, your royalties, making your profits, all those types of things. And it gives you as much flexibility as possible. You do usually have to pay for everything up front if you're using a book coach like myself or somebody that will help walk you through the book process. If you need to talk to somebody who's worked with me, talk to Scott because he's worked with me on several of his books. And of course, this isn't always nice to have if you don't know your way around the system, don't understand how KDP or Ingram Spark works. And so, you know, it can make it a little bit easier for you if you're a first-time publisher. But you do have to do your own marketing. So that's one of the things that you just need to be aware of, that you do your own marketing. Okay. Sunshine, do we have any questions so far in the chat on any of these items?
There's no chat open there yet.
You'll have to open it on your screen.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Any questions so far? Let me just do a quick scroll down, see if anyone's got their hands raised with any questions. Okay, doesn't look like it so far. Okay, great, we're gonna move on. All right, the next item is the phases, and this is really one where I wanted to cover most of it because it really helps you understand what to do first, second, and third as far as publishing your book. So step one, I like to use the sticky note method when working on a book. And really what this is just take a stack of sticky notes and you can actually write a different topic or a different theme for your book on each one of your sticky notes. So for example, you might be doing a book about travel. So if you're talking about travel, you might first of all start with sticky notes that have all the different places that you travel that you'd like to write about. And what I do is I find a wall or a door that has some space and I put up all my sticky notes with all the places that or things that I'd like to write about. And you might go as far as, you know, if you're doing a book about travel, the places you've traveled, but what are also some great travel tips? What was your favorite story? Where did you have your best meal? So if you think about it that way, you can write all those types of things on sticky notes and put them on your wall, back of the door, someplace where it won't be disturbed. And then when you're feeling inspired to write, you can go ahead and just take that one sticky note and write just a little bit about that and then kind of put it to the side. Then later on, when you come back to look at everything that you've written, it's really easy because you can rearrange those sticky notes to make sense and kind of create flow in your book. Some people like to start with an outline, and either way you can do it. There's no right or wrong way to write your book. So if writing an outline works better for you, sometimes that gives you more of a sense of a linear story from beginning to end. So either way is fine. Just figure out how you're going to go ahead and develop your book and where you're going to start writing. Okay. Your next step is to write your content. So again, taking those sticky notes or going back to your outline and then writing a little bit about each one of those topics. And as you write, then you can go ahead and fill in details, fill in the gaps, make sure that things are flowing correctly. Step 3 is if you're needing help with the writing process, I would recommend working with a writing coach. And sometimes you might be able to just do that even within this group, because there's a lot of people here who have published before, or people that are editors or have worked in the publishing industry. So think about using each other as someone who might be able to coach you with some of your writing and help you get unstuck and make sure that you write all those pieces for your book. Step 4 is to go through your first round of developmental editing. So your development edit is really, you've got the entire manuscript written, your first draft, okay? You've got a beginning, a middle, an end, you've got chapters in place. So you really have your book completely laid out and pretty much everything written. Your first round of editing, the development edit, may be followed by another 1 or 2 rounds. Now, I should say, if you are going with a traditional publisher, you can expect to do anywhere between 10 and 15 rounds of editing. It's quite a lengthy process. However, those that are independently publishing or self-publishing, I say go through 1 to 3 rounds. Don't spend more time on it than you need to, and don't spend extra money on it if you don't need to go ahead and get through all of those rounds of editing to make sure that your book is well-rounded, that you have a beginning, a middle, and end, there's an arc to your story, and it's well put together, okay? So that's really what your development edit will be about. And like I said, 1 to 3 rounds of the development edit. All right, so this is the middle phase of production. So while your book is in editing, and I should back up just a little bit. Once you're done with those 3 rounds of editing that I talked about, then you want to go ahead and send your book to a proof editor. Your proof editor should be a different editor than the person who did your development edit. The reason for this is because you want a fresh set of eyes to see your manuscript and pick up on anything that there's an error or something that you or your editor missed. So make sure that you go through that proof edit as well, okay? And then step 5, while your book is in editing, this is always a good time to really start developing your title and your subtitle. You can also purchase your ISBNs and draft your copyright page. In addition to your copyright page, you can also look for your BISAC codes, which are the categories for your book. I recommend that you purchase your ISBNs. Do not use the free ones on Amazon. And I say this because we never know what the future will hold. So if at some point Amazon decided that any ISBNs that were published with them, that they own the content, you could potentially lose the content for your book. So I would definitely recommend that you purchase your own ISBN so that you own the copyrights for your book outright, okay? And I'm going to stop sharing for just a second because that's usually where people have a lot of questions is ISBNs, copyright pages, and BISAC codes. Does anybody have questions about that or how that works?
Nobody's on yet.
Michael, do you have a question? Go ahead and unmute yourself.
It's all new to me.
Have you written a book before?
Actually, I'm in the process of finishing up a second one.
Okay.
I've never published. Something I've always wanted to do, and in retirement, I've started to do it. It's fiction that I'm writing, so sticky notes and outlines are really not the way I'm working. And so upon completion, if I wanted to self-publish, what you just said really rang a bell with me in terms of purchasing an ISBN and drafting a copyright page, which that sounds fairly simple or straight ahead. It just, I don't know what that actually means other than to say, I wrote this book.
You can always, to do your copyright page, I use a template actually that makes sure that has all of the pertinent information. So on your copyright page, you're going to need your ISBN. You'll need your BISAC codes, which are the categories in which your book would be housed in a library or bookstore. You're going to need the publisher name, where it's published. Is it published in the US? Contact information, as far as maybe an email to contact you if somebody wants bulk purchases. So there's some pertinent information that's very important to have on that copyright page. You can either duplicate what you see in other published books, or certainly you can find templates online. Those are pretty simple. Okay. Any other questions about that? Yes.
Susie, I was going to say, I think it would be useful to some of the people that are writing now, it's their first book. So as far as the ISBNs and all that, you know, they obviously can get one, but for somebody who may be writing a serial or has several projects, it's cheaper to get the 10, you know, because you could also use that even if you go in a different direction with your writing. The ISBN is still yours. So I wonder if you could kind of give people a little bit of background on how that would work.
Yes, absolutely. So I would recommend buying your ISBNs at Bowker. Bowker is like the place to go to purchase your ISBNs. And you can buy one for $125, or you can get a 10-pack for $295. So if you're going to do multiple versions of your book, for example, a paperback and a hardcover, or if you're going to do different books, like a series of books. Scott has actually written several poetry books. So obviously for him, it makes sense to buy a 10-pack of ISBNs because he can use those on all the different books that he has. You cannot transfer or gift somebody an ISBN. The person or the business, like your publishing company, whoever purchases that ISBN owns the rights to the book. So very, very important information there. Okay. I think Fred had a question.
If I heard you correctly, you're saying that someone who controls the ISBN could ultimately control your copyright?
That is correct.
I can't say I'm an expert in copyright law, but I am a retired attorney, and I've dealt with various issues in copyright law. That's the first I've ever heard of that. In fact, I would like to see where you're getting it, that could possibly be happening. The person who is the creator, who's the author, and you know, and as you see even in those books on KDP Amazon, someone's putting in copyright the name of the author. I know of no circumstance where KDP Amazon could potentially, you know, grab that, because the copyright is the property right of that author.
Brad, you're talking to your mic. We're not hearing you half the time.
Oh, hold on. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, Fred, I think I understand the gist of what you're saying. Yes, technically the person who has written the book owns the copyrights. However, your ISBN is your protection for that. You can actually take it an extra step further and actually copyright that information. On the Bowker website, you can purchase ISBNs and copyrights. So that might be something that you consider that you might want to do. So, and I've actually worked with authors who have that they used a free ISBN or someone that purchased an ISBN, and still you don't want to end up in a legal situation that's just going to be expensive for you as an author. So you're better off just to buy your own ISBNs.
All right, let me just say, I respectfully disagree. I will reach out to a friend who's a copyright law professor to put exactly what you're saying. I just think on this particular point, I would love to see where you're getting your information from, because again, it runs contrary to every principle of copyright law I've ever been familiar with. And I've worked on copyright issues in connection with my projects in film, plays, and books. So I'm not disagreeing with you that necessarily for someone like Scott, who is doing a serial group of poetry books, maybe it makes sense for him from a financial standpoint, to buy those ISBNs. I don't know, but I'm just saying from a copyright standpoint, I just think it goes against everything I've ever heard, and I would be curious.
We can agree to disagree. That's fine.
Ms. Schaefer,
we have another question. Yes, yeah. Noreen.
Hi, Susie. If one publishes a book and then you have changes or whatever and you republish it, do you use the same ISBN or do you need another one?
That's a really great question. I'll clarify that. If you are doing a second edition, you will need a new ISBN. If you are simply uploading files that have been revised under the same title and the book is essentially the same, you can use the same ISBN and you just re-upload your new files.
Okay, yeah. And this may be a silly question, but do you need them if you're doing a film?
ISBNs? No,
it's just for books.
It's a little bit different with films. Okay. ISBNs are specifically for books.
Thank you.
And there's a question in the chat about if you're doing an ebook, you don't need an ISBN. You can use the free ISBN that Amazon assigns you, and then they create an ASIN number for the ISBN. However, again, I just recommend if you want to protect your rights that you purchase an ISBN. So it's up to you. You can do either way. I just know that Amazon is a big business. And we don't know what the future holds. So if they decided to change any of their policies and they are the owner of the ISBN, it could create problems down the road. I'm just saying, protect your work. That's all. Okay, any other questions? Michael.
Bowker, Bowker.
Yes, and I'm going to put the actual website in the chat here. It's myidentifiers.com is the website. So you can go ahead and check that out. And they give you a whole explanation about copyrights, ISBNs, what they're used for and everything else. So, all right. Peggy, you had a question.
Yes. Are you going to put all this on our website?
I'm going to send you the handout here and you can go ahead and distribute it to the group.
Or put it on the website.
I don't have access to put something on your website, so I'll send it to you.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, go ahead and everybody mute. I'm going to move on with the presentation here.
Okay, I have one.
Wait, we have a question. Is it Daya?
Yeah, this is Daya.
Yes.
I just want to know, how do you access for ISBN that Barkhan? Can you access it online?
Yes, the website is myidentifiers.com.
Okay.
Okay, it's in the chat box. I've just put it in there for you. Okay, you're welcome. All right, moving on. All right, there we go. Okay, so your next step after you go ahead and go through editing and you've developed your copyright page, you'll want to go ahead and write your dedication. Can you guys see my screen? I don't think you can see my screen, can you? Nope, I need to share it again, sorry. Let's share. There we go, okay. All right, so there we need to write your dedication, your acknowledgements, your about the author, any other interior content that you want. I like the about the author, which is a long bio for yourself at the back of the book, right after your acknowledgements. Obviously, your dedication goes at the beginning of the book, right after your title page and your copyright page, okay? If you get advanced praise, that's always nice to add at the beginning of the book as well. So having advanced praise, if someone has given you a testimonial or says this is a great book and talks a little bit about that, that's always nice to put in the book if you have that as well. A foreword is usually written by somebody who's an expert in your industry or maybe a fellow publisher, something like that. It's usually a person of expertise that can speak to your topic that you're writing about, okay? Then what you want to do is go through your proof edit. I talked a little bit about this earlier because you can kind of fit that in and then Steps 5 and 6 you can be doing while your book is with the proof editor, but make sure that you do go through a proof edit with a proof editor and that you also proof your entire book and using a separate editor that is different than your development editor, okay? Step 8 is to design your cover and your interior layout. I like to start with the cover because sometimes what happens is once you've developed your title and your subtitle, and then you're developing your cover design, you can use elements from the cover design in the interior of your book. So for example, I will just show you guys a copy. This is a book that I just recently published. This is the Pivot Project. And you'll see that on the front of this book, you guys can probably see that little thumbnail. It's got little street signs. And inside the book, we're able to take some of those same design elements and put them in the interior of the book as well. So once you've developed your cover design, it allows you to use some of those design elements for the interior. Okay, and then step 9 is to proof your cover and your interior. So again, you want to proof your entire cover. So front cover and your back cover, make sure that everything looks good. And then it proofs the interior of the book as well to make sure that your margins look good, that your page numbers are in the right place, that your chapters start correctly, all of those little details. Okay. Your next step then, once you've approved all of your files and your cover file, your interior file, and everything looks good, then you want to go ahead and upload your files to Amazon's KDP, which is Kindle Direct Publishing, their print-on-demand service, or Ingram Spark. You can do both as well. My personal preference is I like to do the paperback and ebook on Amazon, KDP, and then do a hardcover on Ingram Spark. It gives an author multiple products to sell and allows your hardcover book to be accessible for libraries and bookstores, which is where most book buyers will purchase through Ingram Spark. And then step 12, step 11 is to order proofs of your book. So both your paperback and your hardcover, you want to make sure that you order a proof copy so that you can see it. When you see the physical book, sometimes you'll notice that, wow, there's maybe the margins might be too small in the back, or maybe your spine is crooked or something like that. So you want to make sure that you have the opportunity to look at all of those different elements as far as the interior. The pages are on straight, it's not upside down or something. And once you've proofed the physical book, then you can go ahead and convert your paperback or hardcover book into an ebook and upload that one. You want to wait to do the conversion on ebook because if you find a change, you're just going to have to reconvert the ebook anyway. So it just saves you a step along the way. And then of course, once everything looks good and you can go live on Amazon, before you actually announce your launch, I always say, make sure that your books are all linked correctly, like your ebook and your paperback are linked correctly, and that you set up your author page, okay? It's important to have your author page set up so that you can have all that. I'm actually going to pull up that for you guys so that you guys can see it. I'm going to give you an example here that you guys can see. So there it is. There's the Pivot Project. Okay, so you can see that when this book comes up, it gives you a paperback, hardcover, and your Kindle version for all three. It shows your book, it shows your front and back cover down here in the corner, and also your author page. So you want to make sure that those are all linked together so it all shows up on one page like this. Okay? All right. And then once you make sure everything is linked and set up correctly, then you can go ahead and announce your book launch, whether you're doing that in person or if you're doing a virtual launch, like launch on Zoom, like we're doing here today, you can do that. Celebrate, because becoming an author is a wonderful thing. And then step 15 is to do your book marketing. And that is to make sure that you're getting your book out to people, doing a press release. You're letting people know on social media that your book is live. And so basically here is the very end questions. I do offer $100 off the Amazon bestseller campaign for people within this group. And here's my contact information. If you guys want to take a picture or a screenshot of this, you're more than welcome to do so. And then I'll stop my sharing so that I can answer all of your questions. Okay. All right, I'm going to do stop sharing because I'm sure you guys have questions. Okay, let's take Sunshine's first. That's in the chat here. It says, my first ebook of the paperback I published converted perfectly. My last ebooks of subsequent paperbacks have not converted well. And did you convert them yourself, Sunshine, or did you have someone do that conversion for you?
I converted them myself, both the first one that turned out well and the subsequent ones that did not turn out well at all.
Okay, and so what happened when you said they didn't turn out well? What was going on? Like, what were the issues?
Some crazy things, like all of a sudden the table of contents was in orange, and it didn't fit the things into the page perfectly. I had to re-edit everything, and then in the re-editing, when you tried to put the spacing in, it looked right on their tool that you use to do the extra edits, and when I would put it out there, it looked terrible. So I'm not really happy with their ebook right now.
Yeah, and did you use the editing tool through KDP, or did you have someone? Okay. I would actually recommend, there are a number of great people on Fiverr.com, and I'll put that in the chat too so you guys have it. It's Fiverr.com. And there are so many people out there that do really great services, from things like converting your ebook for you to doing some editing. There's all kinds of services. So I recommend that you look for someone there. It may be something simple. And did you convert from a Word document or a PDF to your ebook?
I tried both.
Okay. Okay. You might check and see if there's somebody on Fiverr.com that can take a look at that for you and reconvert it, because sometimes they have advanced tools that we might not have. And it might be worth spending $10 on or whatever to get that book converted correctly.
Okay. All
yeah.
right.
Yeah. Give it a shot.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Is there another question here? I thought I saw a hand go up here.
Let's see.
Oh, yes. Jerome, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Oh, okay, I just started typing something in chat.
Oh, yeah.
But this is easier. What are the total costs going to be? I understand that it's probably a very huge range from whether you want to save a lot of money or whether you're willing to spend a lot of money.
But what a range for what? For what?
For publishing a book.
It is a huge range. You can do it yourself, and like Scott and Sunshine have both done theirs themselves, and they've been able to do it fairly inexpensively. I mean, literally, if you just paid to have someone edit your book and convert your ebook, things like that, you could be in for maybe a couple $1,000s on up to, I know people that some charge $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 to do a book. So yeah, so it's a huge range. But definitely use the resources that you have within this group. And, like Scott and Sunshine have obviously published their books on their own without spending a ton of money. So yeah, it's doable.
Susie, I mentioned this before, but I'm going to mention it again because it worked for me. I have a daughter that's a wonderful editor, but besides that, when she was done with my book, I used a company called Upwork. Have you heard of them?
Yeah, Upwork is just like Fiverr. So if you find people on Upwork, they're fantastic. So either Upwork or Fiverr, you can get people to help you with editing, with your interior design, your cover design, converting to ebook. There's all types of services like that.
I didn't think about the ebook for that, so I might use, because I had a lady that I was using to help with there's so many tiny little errors that can happen with the editing. And it's so good to have more than one pair of eyes or 2 pair of eyes or 5 pair of eyes looking at it.
Absolutely. That is so correct. Yes.
How do you spell Upwork? No, fighter you spell.
Oh, it's upwork.com, upwork.com.
UP, okay.
Yeah. Okay, and Cheryl has a question. Sorry about, I don't know what she means, but do you know why Amazon recently has disallowed reviews from contributors to a compilation? I don't know what you mean by that. Can you explain, Cheryl?
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Peggy, you could help out on this maybe. We, of course, do our annual Village Stories, and it appears that, I don't know how Amazon would know all the names, but we have about 16 contributors, and it appears that we're not able to
I think I know
contribute a review, and that has changed, you know.
Yeah. So
reviews on Amazon.
If you are an author in that book, you cannot write a review on it. Okay. If you are an author listed on Amazon, you may not even be able to review other people's books. This is so that they keep the slate clean. Okay. Otherwise people will pit. Like, for example, on my book, I can't leave a review for this because I work in the industry. I can't review anybody's books because they know I'm a publisher. So they do this so that people can't go in and pad reviews. It's so that it keeps it consistent and keeps it clean. So that's why you can't do it. So you need to ask people to please leave an honest review on Amazon. And if you get reviews that are not on Amazon, not in that customer portion there, if you get a review, say someone just emails you a review, you can add it on your Author Central page and it'll drop into your editorial reviews. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Peggy?
Yeah, I couldn't, but then I got my son to fix it for me, and I reviewed it. Village Stories. So there are only 2 reviews, Phil's and mine. I gave it 5 stars. Phil gave it 4.
Okay, you got to have your son tell us how he fixed it so we can do that too.
Yeah, it works. It worked.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know how he did that because generally they will not allow you to review your own book or if you are a contributing author in a book.
Yeah.
I think what he did is, okay, so let me look at that. Let me look at it so that I can see what I'm, hang on one second here. Let me go.
Village Story.
My mouse is.
Peggy, it's Fred Cantor. I have a quick question for you. But why, as an author, would you want to be reviewing a book that you made a contribution to?
Oh, for heaven's sake, so that it will be attractive to other people. I think.
I mean, if you have 20 authors, you're basically commenting on the whole book, not what your portion is.
Right. I just want to make it attractive to others.
Yeah, the 2 reviews are showing up in customer reviews. So he may have actually just contacted customer service and said, hey, this is one of the contributing authors. They'd like to leave the reviews. No. Can you allow it? So he did not?
No, no.
What, do you know what he changed?
We went through about 6 steps. I'll have to ask him.
Okay.
He's a techie.
Yeah.
And so he confuses me with all his steps.
Well, if you can't get them on, and sometimes what happens is people do struggle with that. And so if it doesn't work, you can always put them on your Author Central page in your review section there, and it'll drop into your editorial reviews, not your customer reviews, your editorial reviews. Do you want me to show you what the difference is?
Yes,
okay.
Yes, please.
Okay, let me share my screen. I am going to actually use a different book because I want to use one that has editorial reviews. So let's do. So this is a book that I worked on. It's called Blood Money. It's a great book, actually. So we're going to look at the Kindle version. So here is where your editorial reviews show up. You put those in here through your Author Central page. okay? And then down here at the very bottom, when you keep on going, these with the stars are your customer reviews. So you can see they're a little bit different. Your customer reviews, you cannot change. If someone leaves a bad review, there's really nothing you can do about it. Amazon will probably not take it off for you unless it is, unless it's blatantly just bad. But a lot of times what happens is if you do get, you know, 1 or 2 star reviews, what'll happen is nobody will leave a comment. They will not remove reviews unless it has a comment. So, but you can see here's where the customer reviews are. And then he got a bunch of other reviews and we drop those into on his author central page, and they show up here on your editorial reviews.
Can you show us the author center, that page where we would do that?
Yeah, actually, let's do this. I have to remember. Let me just, I'll need to, oh, I'm already logged in. Okay, so this right here is your Amazon sales page. And actually we'll go back to my book, so it makes it easier for you guys though.
Okay.
Okay, so this right here is your Amazon sales page. That's where it shows all of your books and where people can purchase them, okay, on Amazon. This is KDP. Let me just sign in here. Yep, there it goes. This right here is your Kdp page. The way I like to think of it is your Amazon page, this is your store. So if you had a hardware store, this is where your book is housed. This is where people would go to purchase things in your hardware store. KDP is where your files are housed down here, okay? So this to me is like the warehouse that supplies what goes to the hardware store. So this is your warehouse. This is where your files are stored, okay? And then your Author Central page is here. Okay, so this is what your Author Central page will look like. You can link all of your books over to this so that this is really your author pages. To me, it's like the window dressing with a lawnmower and the big red bow. Okay, this is actually making things look pretty on your other page. And your Author Central page feeds to here. Like if I click on my name, this is my author page. So it gives my bio. It has the books that I've written, screenplays, etc. Okay, has all of that there. Okay, so that comes from here. You have the ability to have a profile. So you write your little profile and you can have an author headshot. And then your books are here. So for example, if I was going to change the editorial reviews or add an editorial review, you go into this book. We'll just look at the Kindle version. You got to edit your details. And it's asking me to log in again. It may ask for a code. Yep, sure does. Okay, so the editorial reviews would be right here where it says review. I don't have any in there yet. We just published this, so I don't have any in there yet. But this is where you can update that, okay? And that's on your Author Central page. Okay, so wow, it's just.
Never saw that before.
Yeah,
Thank
you're
you.
welcome. And now here's the cool thing. Let me go back to, this is an actual anthology too, this book. So I want to show you something. You can have up to 10 authors that are co-authors in each version. So for example, like I'm the primary author of this book, but then there are co-authors. If you add them into your metadata on your Kdp page, like when you're uploading your files, each one of these persons will see they have a link. So we can look at these. And I don't think these are all first-time authors, so they don't have their own author pages. But for example, any other books that you do, you can link all of those to your author page. So if you're published multiple times, you can link all of them over here on your author page. For example, these are 2 screenplays that I worked on, this book and then 2 screenplays. So I can link all of those to my author page here. Okay, does that make sense? But you have to be able to be on a contributing author in the actual book. Okay, let me go ahead and stop sharing. Questions on that? That's kind of where the technical stuff kind of gets a little bit sticky, and people sometimes have a little trouble with that, is understanding how the information flows from KDP and Author Central over to the Amazon sales page. That's where it gets a little bit tricky.
Okay, so the way you get to that page is author.amazon.com.
No, it's author. Well, hang on one sec. Yeah, you're actually no, it's going to be Author Central. Let me go back to this. It should be. Hang on, it's really, the system's a little slow when I've got Zoom going. I believe it's, nope, that's for some reason. It's authorcentral.amazon.com. That's what you want. It's taking me here because I'm logged in, but the actual website is authorcentral.amazon.com.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm going to drop that in the chat. Okay. What other questions?
Well, I think that the Author Central is really helpful because a lot of times, if they see, Amazon sees everybody's got a 5-star review, they're a little suspicious of that, okay? Because part of it is they want to get honest answers, or at least reasonably honest ones. But by being able to supplement reviews that you've gotten, because I get a lot of professional reviews by book editors in my specialty. So being able to add those reviews in on top of what the author reviews are is another way to get people to take a look at it. And that's what you want. You want to have as many ways of marketing as you can. And that's just another addition. So it's definitely worth doing.
Yeah, yours was, it's called Legacy, right, Scott? Why am I not seeing you?
It's Scott Galasso.
Oh, that's,
it's William Scott.
I have another author who's, that's why it was auto-filling Galloway in there. There we go. Okay, so this is a great example for you guys to see this, because these are Scott's books, so you can see. So here's the most recent one he published, which is Legacy. So it's got that book. And if you scroll down, then you see, wait, where's your author page, Scott?
Oh, I don't know if I had that one set up for that.
I don't think you've linked it.
Yeah, because I haven't had any reviews yet, because there's usually about a 6-month lead time for what I do.
Okay.
Because they come out on national and international publications that only publish about once every 3 to 6 months.
Right.
And so if I get a book to them, it usually takes a couple cycles for them to put those reviews in.
That has nothing to do with your reviews. So I want you to make sure that you go on and you link your book to your author page. Okay. That's really important, because when people then see that you have that book, they'll see your other books as well. And you also go ahead and add your headshot in here too. Okay. Make sure that you update all that stuff and that your bio looks good. So this looks great in here, but we want to have a headshot and then link a Legacy to your other books. And like this one, the paperback here that has no image available, see if you can't just put something up there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's about making everything look pretty, because people want to see it look pretty.
I get that. That's why I get that, Susie. That's why I work with you.
I know, right? And I have to say, you know, like Scott has done such a great job, especially with the, let me go ahead and both Rough Cut and Legacy, I have to say, you know, great job. All three of his most recent books, he did a really great job on them, on putting them together. really nice covers. You can see that they look really good. They pop off the screen here on Amazon. So he's done a great job. But, you know, some of those little things like cleaning up, like adding your author, your photo, and making sure your books are linked. Those are little details, but it's important that you do that so people can find you. So, yeah.
I agree. And thanks you for reminding me of that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I always like to check in and go, okay, we're missing a couple things. So great. Okay, what other questions do we have? We have about almost 10 minutes left. Yes, Michael.
I'm wondering what kinds of material the club will get from this session. Of course, this is all brand new to me, and it seems a little overwhelming. And I've tried to write down as much as I could, as fast as I could.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if we're going to actually receive something.
Yes. Number one, you will get a recording. You will get a link to the recording of this show. And besides that, Susie is going to send something to Peggy to put on the website that is always on the bottom of the email that Peggy sends out to us. When she sends us anything, there's always a link to the Publishing Club Publishing Club website.
And then a couple slightly more specific questions. Ms. Schaefer, are your services available?
Yes, it depends on what you need. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and drop in the steps for publishing. I just attached it so you guys can actually download it right here from here. I just attach it to the chat here. Yes, I'm available. I will put in my website. Actually, if you go to my website, there's a button that you can actually click on that button and it says schedule a consultation. I do offer a 30-minute free consultation. So that's free to any of you if you guys want to pick my brain, learn something more, find out what my pricing is and what you need. But I'll drop that in for you right here.
I'm going to experiment and see if there's a way that I can add the chat to the video that I create and put out there. I'm not sure. I haven't never done that, but I'll take a look at that.
Sunshine, I'll be sure to save the chat and then I can email it to you.
Okay. That'd be great.
And then secondly, I would love an editor. I'd love someone else to take a look at what I've been writing.
Yes. Michael, what type of books are you writing right now?
Again, fiction.
Fiction? Okay. I actually have a great hybrid publisher that I send all of my fiction authors to. So if you do the consultation with me, I'm happy to make that introduction for you.
Great. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Okay. What other questions do we have?
Actually, I have a great editor here at home. I have a great editor here at home, but like you say, multiple pairs of eyes.
Yes. Multiple pairs of eyes.
Eyes on the prize.
Can you talk more about cover design and how to go about that?
Yeah, so one of my designers that did this actual book, she does cover design, ebook conversion, and interior layout. The whole thing is a package for me. So so it's fantastic. She does all of that. But again, you can go to Upwork and you can go to Fiverr to find someone who can do a cover design for you. Where it's easy to create a front cover, it's difficult to create the entire cover because you've got to deal with your spine and you've got to make sure that the size is correct. Ask Scott about this because he's been through it with me. Sometimes the sizing of the spine can make all the difference in the file. Like it won't upload correctly if it's not sized correctly. So that's where using a professional designer to do your interior and your layout, the interior layout and your cover design together makes a lot of sense. So yeah.
And Peg, I just wanted to say in regard to that, it's just like the editing as far as the cover. It is really important to have somebody who can really kind of right size that and to also get a proof copy. Because as Susie knows, sometimes on the proof copy, you won't notice, just looking at the screen if it's exactly right, and particularly on the spine, if it's a little bit crooked, a little bit off, that's not how you want to present the book. So just as you have an editor to look at it, it's good to have somebody who can specialize in the covers and make sure it's done right.
That's absolutely right. I always tell people, don't go live or do your book launch without seeing a physical proof of your book, because when you see the physical book, it's very different from what you see on a screen. And you know, when you're doing your ebook conversion, you have to do things like take out your page numbers, take out your the numbers in your table of contents, because it's a one file that flows in an ebook. So there's some other things that you have to, you know, work on. So, you know, when you get stuck, those are the kinds of things that you'll need to know how to fix or get somebody to help you with that. Okay, any last minute questions? And then if not, then, and you guys, I mean, obviously you guys can continue your meeting if you need to, but I will hop off because I've got another call. I'll save the chat. I'll send it to Sunshine along with the handout if you don't grab it here. It does have my contact information in the handout, and you guys all have that. So any final question?
Well, I would just like to say one thing, a plug for you, Susie. I've done now 4 books with Susie, and she does a great job. And even if you choose to have some aspect of what you do done someplace else, do the consultation, because she can at least send you where you need to go. And some of that is dependent upon your own experience. If you're a new author, you know, you might need more help. If you're somebody who's done this for a while, you know, you can take it to a certain place, and then your costs will be a little bit less because the people doing the work don't have to spend as much time. Exactly. So it's a good idea to do a consultation with her. She can help you to navigate for you. And then it's a matter of what's comfortable for both of you, and you have to work that out with her. But she's very easy to work with and knows her stuff. And there you go.
Thank you, Scott.
What is the fee? Susie, what is the...
Susie, I have a question. It's Nancy Brown.
Hi, Nancy.
And I'm sorry, I have been on hold for the entire presentation with a phone call. I can't hang up, so that's why you see what you see. But anyway, I put a question in the chat. Are you going to be sending your PowerPoint to us? Because like Michael, I think I'm definitely a first timer, and I've been writing like crazy, but I would love to have the PowerPoint to get your notes.
Yes, Nancy, you'll get the PowerPoint.
Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Nancy, you'll also get a copy of the video show.
Okay, sure. Okay, great. And see you tomorrow, Susie, on the consultation.
Wonderful. Thank you, Nancy. Anyone else? I'm going to have to hop off here in 1 minute. So
thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Susie.
Thank you, Susie.
Sunshine, Peggy, thank you so
Very
much. Always good to see you. All right. You guys take care of yourself. Stay healthy. And hopefully I'll see you all sooner. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Now, we've got a few other things. First of all, I expect the book order 20 more copies tomorrow or day after. We sold 70 in less than a week. So our book is very popular. What can I say? And I gave it to my husband to read, and he usually doesn't read our books. Well, this one he couldn't put down. And I think the large print had a lot to do with it. Second point, we already have a submission for Village Stories 2021. So we're looking to put together a team of editors. So if you're interested in helping us put together our Village Stories 2021, let me know. We're already starting. And hopefully next year, it'll be ready by Christmas or before, by the holidays.
I will offer to take the individual stories that are in the order that you would like to have them in and put them into the book like I did this year. I will do that for you next year. Okay?
Oh, you're a sweetheart. You're an angel.
Thank you, Sunshine.
What would we do without you?
But I don't know if I want to do the cover this time. So people can, maybe they can be a contest for the
Let's
cover
do
this
that.
time.
We did that before.
Yeah, that would be
and we'll do it again.
So should we mail the story to whom?
Well, for now, mail it to me.
Okay.
They have to be edited before they come to me.
Exactly. So for the moment, mail it to me.
What's the preference? What's the preference in terms of software? I mean,
we need to go over that. That's why a team. This time I wanted all the same font. Sunshine, direct us. What's the best font? Use PC.
I believe that you used, I believe we used 14 font, and in a Word document. So it's a Word document that you need to create and send to Peggy for editing.
And you're saying in 14 point, and is there a particular?
Yes. Let's A. What is it? What A? Arial.
And let's go with 16 font. 16 font.
16?
Yeah, if it's bigger, we catch the mistakes, believe me. So 16.
Okay.
There was just a message from Phil. He says, how about big print on the cover? Well, we had pretty big print on the cover. And the bigger the print, the less you can say. So you have to be kind of careful with that.
Right.
No. No, not what I meant.
You said the cover.
Well, hold on.
What you mean?
What do you mean? Why don't you?
Not the title itself. Hold on. Hold on. But as a feature.
Can you just tell us what you're trying to say?
All right. Here we go. I tried the technology. Not that we want annual 2021 in large print. I mean, on the bottom, a little, what do you call that? A caption, what do you call a bubble that says new large print edition.
Okay, well, why don't you send your idea in writing to Peggy, okay? And
yeah,
everything else,
sure.
I'll get it. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. And last thing, this is probably the most beautiful book ever published. It's gorgeous. It was published by Ramagopal, and I wrote to you about it. And as soon as I wrote to you, it was sold out. But Ramagopal, I would love for you to dedicate this copy to me whenever you're somewhere near here. And I'd love for you, Ramagopal, to read a poem from your book. It's unbelievable, just touching it. Is he here?
Well, what happened is I kept getting messages in my email that he was there. He was there yesterday. He was there last night. He was there today at 1 o'clock, and he doesn't seem to be here now.
He is here. I see him on my screen.
Oh, are you there?
Yes, you need to, what you need to, there he is.
Oh, there he is.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. How much time I have?
Plenty.
Okay. I just want to tell you a couple of things. I also write books in Tamil. I have published 2 books. I just want to show you the covers. I don't want to take much time. This is one of the books. The first one, it is in Tamil, it is pronounced Avalorithi. Okay, it's very hard to translate that into English. This is in Tamil. And then the second book is Pudu Neelam. Okay, the first one is the one that I wrote when I was 18 or 19 years old and published in various literary journals in India. So I collected all those publications about 60 years later and then put those together. After I published, after I have written this book when I was in high school and first year college, I left literature completely. I went into science and I did not touch anything about stories or poems for another 40, 50 years. I didn't even read anything. I was completely in science. If I had to read something entertaining, I probably will browse through Reader's Digest once in a while. That's all I did. So after several years, 30, 40 years, I tried to come back into literature after I had completed a little bit of my scientific quest. That's when I went, I started writing in both in English and Tamil, go back. So during this 40 years, I did not have anybody to talk to in Tamil or anything. I didn't read anything in Tamil. And for some of you who may not know about Tamil, it is one of the oldest living languages in the world. So continuously living languages in the world. The literature of that language started about 3,000 years ago. And then the other language that you all know in India is Sanskrit, which is not spoken anymore. Nobody, it's like Latin. But Tamil is spoken over 100 million people around the world still. One thing that you may want to remember is today the Tamil people have also gotten into the White House a few minutes ago. Kamala Harris, you may also know that her mother is a scientist. She's from India, but she is also a Tamil woman. She's also from China. But I don't think Kamala Harris knows anything about Tamil, just like my kids. When they went to India when they're small, 2 or 3 years old, they'll come back and babble in Indian language. But after they started school, they forgot everything. They don't speak. They don't understand. So even Kamala doesn't even pronounce her name correctly. It's not Kamala. It is Kamala. There are short vowels. The syllable, first 2 syllables are short syllables. The last one is a long one. So it's Kamala. so that is one of the things. That's one of the things that I want to, recite the poem, one poem that I want to, recite from my book. Is about the poem that I wrote in Village Stories, which is called Villanelle. Villanelle is a pastoral poem. In English, it is there are a lot of forms, not only ballad and sonnet. They also got from Japanese haiku and from Mediterranean Urdu poem is ghazals, like that. Villanelle is a French form, and it is 19 lines long. It has 5 versets, 3-line stanzas, and 1 quatrain, the last one. It has 2 refraining lines with 2 rhymes. Throughout the poem, it has only 2 rhymes. Okay, so it's a pastoral poem. It's something about obsession. So we are all, America is concerned with the obsession about immigration, migrations. So in the book I have written, it is titled as Migrations, not Villanelle. So I put the Villanelle so that, people will know what it is about. So I don't know why the title I gave that, but it's migrations. Actually, I did not study language or literature. All I studied in about literature was when I was in high school. When we go into science in Indian system, the British people, they established a system was that you study only science, no literature, no entertainment, everything science. All the subjects are science. So when I wrote poems in English, I did not know where. Yes, that's the one. That's the one. Well enough. So when I did not know whether my poems were good or not, so I selected a publisher in India, an independent publisher, who is a professor of English. So I asked him, are they good enough to publish? So he said, okay, they are fine. So that's how this book came about. Okay. So it has two parts. Actually, it's two books in one. The first one is titled Firstborn Smiles. It's about family, about my experiments learning different forms of the English poetry, and about my philosophy of life. The second part is called November Meditations. That's about about my mind, experiments with my mind, simply to say that. So those are the two parts. It's about 75 poems totally there. So I will read the poem, which is this is a short poem. Okay, so that's the villanelle in village stories, which is titled Migrations in my book. It's about human beings, migrations. We started as hunter-gatherers, and we all learned that 10 or 12,000 years ago, human beings discovered, invented agriculture, and then we settled. But invention has a secondary effect. It makes you run again. So we are still hunter-gatherers. We keep going. We keep migrating. So migration, we migrate, we learn new lullabies, and not our lullabies. We lose our lullabies, our native land. We learn new lullabies, and we go on. It's about that. So I'll read the poem. It's a short one. A grain of sand, drop of water can be piercing. In the realm of weight, fear of date, launching lullabies in new land shot. Webbing the orb with element it got, weaving the sky with paint it didn't. A grain of sand or drop of water can become piercing. Folds of our measuring waves in knot, emanate lineage lines already bent, launching lullabies in new land sought incessantly. Imitate, then see poles in knot. Leveling the wind, the lines soon couldn't find sand and water in transigent balls. None invisible, gravitational transport ascended waves none. Why would late thought launch lullabies new? Gathering is scattering, apparently not. Wavering in dance would be infinite you can't. A grain of sand, drop of water can be piercing in other lullabies launched and bought. So I do have some more poems, some more books here. I want to thank you for the people who bought the books from Peggy to support our publishing house. And I do have a few more copies that I can spare. And if anybody is interested, they can contact Peggy or give me an email. My email is ramagopal@msn.com. They do have a lot of different sari class. They're all, the sari class were commissioned for each different types of sari class. So this one, I just saw you, this book here is this color. Kamala Harris actually worn this color for years. So that color. So there is another one, we just saw one. Okay, there is another one. So every book is a different color. And there is another one, different color. Yeah. So there is another green, there are blue, and there. So there, I have a few more copies left. If anybody is interested in getting one, let me know. As I said, and that's about all I want to say.
Thank you. That was very beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
It's a beautiful book, and hey, you made us $125 because I said $25. So the publishing club is doing well. And so I'm wondering how you would like to spend our money. It's not a fortune, but think about it. We have about $1,300.
Okay.
Anyway, thank you, Ramagopal.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah. Okay.
It's a beautiful book. I think it's the most beautiful
okay.
book I've ever.
I hope you like the poems. I hope you like the poems.
Yeah. Yes. And I love the idea of migrations. And what a coincidence. I mean, here we have Kamala.
Yeah, no, there are some more Stanley and James, going
Kamala. You've taught us even how to say her name.
Her full name is Kamala Devi, which is the...
And that means lotus.
Kamala Devi, which is, the other name for the goddess of learning, Saraswati, in the Indian mythology.
Wow.
So if you have here a name Saraswati, that's the Kamala is the lotus. So Kamala Devi is the goddess in the lotus. So the name is actually Kamala Devi.
How appropriate.
So the goddess. So, but that's what happens.
Even be president someday.
Yeah.
Go Cami.
Yeah, go Cami. Kamala. Now we know.
Allah. Yeah. So it's, but in the Indian, the Tamil language is very easy to, very hard to learn. But you can read as it is written. It's no gimmick. C-A-R, car. If it's C-A-R-E, care. So it's not car, care. Y-C-A is car. Y-C-A is K. There is no gimmick. If you want to read Kamala, Kamala. That's it. Daya. If it is Daya, Da, yeah. That's it. 2 letters. Like
Do you write sometimes in Sanskrit? Because the Sanskrit is very close to Tamil. So I'm just wondering, do you ever write sometimes in Sanskrit language?
I learned a little bit of Hindi, but it's similar to Sanskrit. But I don't write in Sanskrit.
Okay, because Radhakrishnan had made translation of Bhagavad Gita, from Radhakrishnan.
Radhakrishnan, yes.
A philosopher from South India.
Right. No, a lot of Tamil people that have learned, there are a lot of...
so I just wonder if you do
from India, Tamil Nadu.
That's the reason I ask if you do some work in Sanskrit because Bhagavad Gita is in Sanskrit, you know.
Right. Actually, the publisher of this my book in India, Professor Lal, he's a Sanskrit scholar too. He has recently, before he died, he passed away about 2 or 3 years ago. Before he passed away, he translated the original Mahabharata, the 23 books from original Sanskrit into English. So you can buy that from his website. It's very expensive. And he made, so he's a very good Sanskrit scholar. And, but he is a professor of English. He was taught by Jesuits, missionaries. Sanskrit was taught by them rather than by Indians.
Yeah. I learned Sanskrit when I was a little girl.
Oh, okay.
So that's the reason I read the Bhagavad Gita in Sanskrit.
Yes. There are a lot of people, there are a lot of scholars in Tamil Nadu from the south.
Yeah.
They are very good Sanskrit scholars. And, it's still taught in University of Madras, Sanskrit as a language. It's taught here, Berkeley. Berkeley, they taught, they also teach Tamil. In Berkeley, University of Chicago, University of Pennsylvania, Harvard, they teach all those classical languages. And actually, one of the professors of Tamil in Berkeley, he graduated from Harvard University. His thesis is on Tamil and Sanskrit. He went to, part of his thesis was done in Boston at Harvard, and the other part was done in India, in Tamil Nadu. So he went to Madurai. That's where the Tamil literature was established long time ago.
Yeah, Madurai is very beautiful place. Yeah.
Right. So he went there. He studied at Madurai University, and then he married a Tamil girl, and then he came to Berkeley, and they both teach Berkeley. So he has written a book comparing the Sanskrit and Tamil. That's his thesis for PhD. And so it's like he's a Jewish community from Washington, D.C. And then he went to marry now Kamala Harris is a Tamil, but she married a Jewish first, second person, or whatever they call it.
Wow.
So that story.
We're so lucky you migrated here, Ramagopal.
We're all lucky, I am the first one to get into education in my family. They were all, they were all farmers. This book here, I wrote here, that's the farm that my farm where I grew up, and that's where I started writing poems, when I was 15, 16 years old.
So you've got the spirit of a poet, but the brain of a scientist.
I don't know.
Good combination.
Yeah.
So anyway, next February, our speaker will be Alan Rankin, who's published several fiction books and has a lot of experience in publishing. And the following month, March, will be Teresa Keegan. And we love her because we get to write when she's our facilitator. So I guess it's time to go. And of course, thank you, Susie, and thank you, Ramagopal. And as soon as the books come in, I'll let all of you know. I'm not sure who has and hasn't received them. So please let me know if you didn't get your copy. And that's it for January. And thank you for being here.
Yeah, bye.
Thank you, Sunshine.
Thank you, Peggy. Thank you, everyone. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, and it looks like we will have that.
I think so. I think it is very.
Have a great month.
Right.
Good evening.
Happy New Year.